You play the game as Amanda Ripley, the daughter of Ellen Ripley from the Alien movies. The game in fact opens with a sign-off from Ellen Ripley announcing that her whole team are dead and that she hopes she will be found by someone in a few weeks before she went missing. Amanda is confronted by an android named Samuels who has come to tell her that a ship named the Anisadora has discovered the flight recorder of the Nostromo and has taken the recorder to Sevastopol Station, a regional supply depot in the region. Samuels also tells her that a ship has been prepared for her if she wishes to go and have a look for herself. Amanda agrees to go with Samuels to check it out since she was working in this region with the intent of looking for her mother in the first place. You gain control of her character after she wakes up on the Torrens, the transport ship taking her and her crew to Sevastopol. You meet Taylor, who came with you as ordered by the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. The loss of the Nostromo cost a lot of money, and so she aims to create an accident report that will look good for her superiors. You, Taylor, and Samuels all arrive on deck as the Torrens contacts Sevastopol for docking. You see that the station appears damaged from a monitor, meaning they cannot connect properly with the station. The captain tries to contact the marshal of the station, and in return they receive a distress signal, a serious situation. As a result, Samuels, Ripley, and Taylor all decide to reach the station via spacewalk since the Torrens cannot dock. But as they are moving through space, a massive explosion causes the line to break. Ripley gets pulled to the dock by the snapped wire, but she can no longer contact Samuels or Taylor and their location is unknown. She climbs in and closes the airlock behind her, entering the station alone. When gravity activates and the air stabilizes, she exits her spacesuit and explores the seemingly empty station. It appears partially trashed with exposed gas pipes emitting steam and flames, forcing her to navigate through the vents in some places. You find an email at a terminal detailing that the station is being decommissioned and therefore only a skeleton crew will handle operations. The delicate state the ship is in results in Ripley falling into a hole when a sheet of metal breaks, resulting in her falling into a luggage conveyor belt. You find another terminal and reactivate the power in the departures area, and as you do this you spot a group of people run past you who do not notice you. As you continue through the departure center, Ripley wonders what the hell happened to the station to make it so empty and forsaken. The whole internal structure is falling apart, and she is not entirely sure what kind of force could cause this much destruction. You climb through another vent and find a bloody corpse of a mechanic. Things are getting serious now, so you take the tool in his hand as a weapon to defend yourself as well to force open doors if needs must. You eventually find even more bodies bagged up in an open area, and as you try to remove the brace off a double door, another man puts a gun to your head. He explains frantically that something inhuman is on the ship attacking people, which is why he is so scared. He says his name is Axel, and Ripley explains to him that if he can help her find Taylor and Samuels, she can offer him a place on the Torrens to get out of Sevastopol. He agrees and hands back the wench he took off her. Axel and Ripley then head for the comms room to contact the Torrens. To avoid other people, you travel through the vents as everyone is beginning to turn on one another in the name of survival. You encounter a group of people who aim to shoot anyone they do not know. Since they are stood in front of a door you must pass, you distract them by turning off the generator and then sneak through the vents under the floor to reunite with Axel and push onwards. However, one of the survivors sneaks up behind Axel, and in retaliation Axel shoots him, alerting the other survivors to come and hunt you down. When you escape, Ripley gets into an argument with him about whether he needed to kill the survivor or not. Just then, Axel looks down at the strange saliva on his shoulders and arms before being impaled through the chest and violently dragged into a vent. As Ripley pushes forward in fear, she can hear the screams and screeches of something running through the vents. You escape through an elevator and discover a security access tuner that would allow you to pass through any doors you need to. After some further exploration you also stumble across the Nostromo flight recorder. However, when you try to access it, it states that the files are corrupted. A security lockdown prevents you from quickly accessing each room, forcing you to reach the security room and disable the lockdown. But as you do this, a xenomorph slowly climbs out of the vent right in front of you. Ripley takes cover as the xenomorph's tail lands right under her legs. It leaves to the next room but can very easily hear and see what you are doing if you do not traverse the area it is in carefully and quietly. Not only this, but soon after it becomes apparent that there are multiple xenomorphs ripping people to shreds around you. You find a SHN android and ask it for help, but it only tells you to take a seat and it will address your problems shortly. Soon after, you find a strange tracker that has been modified to help you locate the xenomorph's location at any given point. You find a communications room, but the android inside is preventing you from accessing it as it is a restricted area. In looking for a different way in, you see through vent bars another survivor demands the assistance of an android. However, the android attacks the man and smashes his face in. When you find another empty communications room, the computer tells you that the facility is offline and so outgoing communications are restricted. Because of this, you instead try to communicate with Samuels, who you hear on the ship, by activating his communications and performing an emergency override on comms. Samuel tells Ripley that he and Taylor are near the medical room as Taylor was hit by debris during the crossing. You also warn Samuel that SHN androids are killing people, which, as an android himself, Samuel is skeptical of but nevertheless accepts it. After an alarm goes off in comms due to unauthorized use, you escape back through the way you came, avoiding the androids as you go, and eventually reunite with Taylor and Samuel. Taylor is in critical condition, and they need to get her into medical, but a lockdown prevents them from doing so. Ripley tries to find another way, and in her exploration a camera catches her, and the person on the other end tells her to go up the elevator to meet him. When they meet, the man says his name is Coleman. He needs Ripley's help to reach the medical office, so he helps her find the passcode for the service elevator down to the hospital in exchange for him coming with her. He directs her to Dr. Morley's office, and she goes to find it. She sneaks through the corridors to the office and logs into Morley's computer, memorizing the universal facility passcode, but she also needs his key card as well, so she must find either Morley or his corpse to take it off him. It is currently where you encounter the xenomorph, which drops out of the vent again to hunt you down. Fortunately, there are several hospital beds which you can take cover under to mostly avoid it seeing you. You are also able to create a noisemaker device to distract the xenomorph whilst you can sneak past it. You eventually find Dr. Morley's corpse in one of his patients' rooms and take his key card, allowing you to return to Coleman whilst still trying your best to not be spotted. You return to Coleman and Ripley drills into him for knowing the xenomorph was down there. You give him the access number and he means to join you, but out of the shadows of the open door steps the xenomorph and pulls him into the dark to kill him. You take the elevator alone. In the hospital, whilst looking for a trauma kit, you find a stun baton that could be useful for defending against the droids if not the alien. You come across a video log of one Dr. Lingard, who was treating what is described as Patient Zero for a parasitic infection. Lingard helped the patient, only for the chest burster to escape, leading to the xenomorph outbreak on the ship. You grab another key card and the medication for Taylor and begin to make your way back to Samuel's, this time avoiding other survivors as well as the alien. You also encounter traps laid down by the xenomorph. If you walk under vents where it is waiting, it will pull you up and kill you. On your way back, you are confronted directly by the xenomorph. Just as it is about to kill you, an explosion goes off on the central terminal and knocking you out. When you come to, the alien is gone but the room is on fire, so you must scale the burning terminal to get to safety through the vents. When you get back to the elevator, you find the explosion broke it, meaning you will have to fix it to return to Taylor and Samuel. Whilst sneaking past a group of survivors, you overhear them talk about how a man named Waits is setting traps to kill the alien, explaining the explosion, and has a haven somewhere in the station that you could possibly make your way to. You go to an android storage facility and activate one that could direct you to a compression cylinder. It takes you through the warehouse but gets both electrocuted and burned to bits in an open gas leak, so you must go and get it yourself. You take the compression cylinder back to the elevator and repair it, bringing you back to Samuel and Taylor. They are with the remaining security on the station, a man named Waits, who explain that the xenomorph was brought onto the station with the Anisadora, the ship that brought back the Nostromo's flight recorder. Ripley asks if there is anywhere they can take Taylor that is safe since the medical wing is off limits, and they suggest taking them to HQ through transit. The problem is that transit is down, and the transit control is upstairs. So as the engineer waits tells you to go and fix it. You reach the main console and try to reactivate it, but someone has shut everything off. You get everything running again and tell Samuel to go ahead first whilst you catch the next car since Taylor seriously needs help. You take the transit to the Marshal Bureau and Waits tells you to take a right at the entrance and go up the stairs. Waits tells you that he has Marlowe, the captain of the Anisadora, locked up, but he cannot get him to bring his ship in from orbit so that can board it and leave. You talk to Marlowe, and he wants to make a deal with you. You then get a flashback from Marlowe's perspective where you play as him when he found the Nostromo's flight recorder. You struggle through a stormy planet until you reach a clearing and see an enormous alien ship. You enter the ship and pass through its organic tunnels until you find an open chamber with a dead alien in the middle of it sat in a cockpit. It becomes clear that the passengers of the Nostromo were here before them. You go and look for the distress beacon to prevent anyone else from finding the site, hoping to claim salvaging rights despite the Nostromo's former presence there. The beacon itself looks equally abnormal, and when you disable it you are called back to your group as they have found something they think is amazing. You are passed down a rope and into an enormous chamber full of eggs. One opens, and like they always do, one of your crew puts their head directly over it and a face hugger latches onto them. After this though, Marlowe will only tell Ripley more if you can get him out of his cell. Waits pulls you away however and takes you to a flamethrower he has just set up. Since the xenomorph is an animal, he theorizes that fire will scare the alien away if it confronts you. He tells you to take the flamethrower and go hunt it down so that they can finally lift the lockdown. You go to meet Ricardo, an associate of Waits in the Systech Spire, as he has a plan to trap it, allowing you to kill it quickly. You lock down several areas and escape the server hub as the alien arrives in there with you. However, Ricardo had to let the alien out of the trap to save Ripley, which enrages Waits. Waits tells Ripley to take the elevator to Gemini Labs where they have a backup plan to trap it. You reach the labs with the xenomorph still on your tail. Within the lab you cause an emergency power reset and Waits tells you to reconnect the systems to Sevastopol from the console on the central lab. Once you do this you must escape the lab, leaving the xenomorph behind. However, when you reach the doors they slam shut on you and the whole lab is ejected into space with you and the alien together. You reach the airlock and grab a space suit before the airlock opens and you are sucked out in the direction of the space station. You enter through a nearby airlock and confront Waits over comms. Despite his methods, it seems to have worked and the station is safe. For now. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. See you next time.